Today is April 13th, 2016. Here I'm in Springfield, Missouri, United States. I'm going to interview my mother about her mother's childhood gardens. And she's going to throw in evidently some other stories maybe. We'll see. So, Mom, tell me about the stories your mom told you about her garden.
Well, first of all, tomorrow is Rebecca Smith's birthday.
And
My granddaughter, Mary's daughter.
So we're going to talk about her great-great-grandparents?
No, my grandpa, well, my mother and her family, and Grandpa Carter. That's just my grandpa.
Right, your grandpa, but that would be her great-great-grandpa.
That was her dad, or her grandpa and my great-grandpa.
Right.
And your great-great.
Right, so add one more great, and that would be Rebecca's. So anyway, tell me a story about your mom, Hazel. She told you about what her dad. What about her pumpkins? What about pumpkins at your grandma's house?
Well, my grandpa had a 600, at least over 600 acres. All right, let's go back to the beginning. Grandpa Carter had 4 girls, and I think he had 6 boys. He might have had 7. But for every boy, he gave a good farm to him.
Now, Grandpa Carter, was he the first settlers in what county?
Well, Jasper.
Was he one of the first? Was he the first of the Joneses to settle, or the Carters?
Fosters.
The Fosters. Was he the first of the Fosters to
Right,
settle?
I think so. I mean, I don't know about Grandpa Foster, his side of the family, but I do know about my grandma Carter, and the Carters.
So Hazel, your mom was a Hazel.
Hazel Jones. Her mother was Hazel Foster, and her mother was Florence and Dora Carter.
So Hazel's a Foster. Her last name was Foster, and her mother was a Carter.
Right.
Okay, now, Grandpa, so it's great Grandpa Carter.
So her grandpa had at least 4 girls, and I think he had 6 or 7 boys, but I think it was 6, but it might have been 7. And he gave 8. He was wealthy out in Virginia. They came from a wealthy family, and they were living on land to possess it. You know how they did in the beginning.
Right. Was it 640 acres? Was it a square mile?
Well, that was Grandpa Foster. Let me tell you. And somebody gave the girls 2 farms, but they didn't have any land with them. And they lived in Perseverance. When mother was a girl, grew up in Perseverance. And that was between Carterville and Carthage. And her mother, and they had a church, but mostly all relation, but they all came from everywhere to that church. And Grandma Foster my mother's mother led the singing 1 month, and her sister, Aunt Athy, led it the next month.
Do you know the denomination of that church? Was it Baptist?
Methodist, I think.
It was a Methodist, you think? Okay.
Yeah, the good old Methodist. On both sides of my family. And, well, anyway.
And so it's a church in Perseverance? The church was located in Perseverance, Missouri?
That's where it was. I don't think it's there anymore.
Oh, okay.
Yes, it was in Perseverance. They had a lot of had earthquakes, and so there was a lot of little mountains there, little hills, and they built a new. Her daddy gave them 2 farms, and they sold them, and built a big old house on top of a hill. A good mile from church. And every Sunday, Grandma would bring the whole church home with her because they were relation for dinner. And they didn't cook anything on Sunday. They had it all done on Saturday. And they had a good life.
What kind of food did they cook, you think?
They had everything.
Such as?
Well, they had. I know. Okay, Grandpa killed a every winter.
Grandpa Foster or Carter?
Carter. Well,
Grandpa Carter.
well, my foster did too, but everybody lived on farms.
But when you say Grandpa, I need you to say the last name so I know which Grandpa you're talking about.
Well, I don't know. I think both of them did this. I'm talking about Grandpa Carter right now.
Okay.
But I know Grandpa Foster did for a fact kill a hog for every member of the family and for company. Because when company came, they stayed, 3 and 4 days.
So your grandpa would give you a whole hog to Hazel every
they
year?
raised them.
No, but you said they killed a hog for every member of the family. What does that mean?
That was when she was a girl.
Oh, they just killed a whole bunch of hogs and stored all that meat.
A hog for every member of the family and one for company.
So how many hogs is that?
Well, they had 7 people there, and Grandpa Carter lived with them, and then that would be 9 hogs.
What would they do with all that meat? That's a lot of
They
meat.
had a meat house. They hung it up. They salted it or whatever they do, but they let it. You know how they let it hang.
And so they cured it.
They had heat in there.
In smoke? They smoked it?
Yeah.
Okay.
And they had a prosperous farm. He had a big farm. They had a lot of buildings.
In Missouri. You're talking about here in Missouri.
I'm talking about 6 miles out of Jasper. That's when they moved. But at this time, I was just throwing it in about them leading a scene in church.
Well, it's a great story.
And they were dedicated Christians and everything. So, but Powder Mill blew up.
Powderville, Missouri?
The Powder Mill.
Powder Mill.
Blew up, and it blew eyes and fingers and ears and toes and arms everywhere.
Were you alive at that time?
Oh, man, no, this mother was just barely alive.
Oh, this is when
she was a girl. And they subpoenaed Grandpa Foster, because he's living on this, and also Uncle Charlie, all the relation, they got subpoenaed to go out and pick up the pieces of people and put it in a sack, and bring it together. And that it upset him so badly that Uncle Charlie went right out that very next day and bought himself a farm beyond Carthage. And it's there today. And that's Aunt Anthony's husband. Well, anyway.
What was his last name?
His name was Charlie McAdoo, Aunt Anthony McAdoo. And Irish, good old Irish. And so Grandpa looked around, he couldn't find anything, and it took him several months. But he did find this prosperous farm that had good black dirt 6 miles out of Jasper, 6 miles and a half out of Jasper, and east of Jasper. Well, out there by Coon Creek. And he bought that, and it was a great big farmhouse. In fact, it had 2 great big farmhouses, and together, and so it was really big. But he had a big family.
And this is Grandpa Foster.
And he had 3 girls and 2 boys, so they had 4 survived children. And they had the steps to 4 those stairs on this side, and steps in that other house go up, and it's all together, of course. And a great big living room and a great big kitchen. And every day the women would get up. They would get up early, and everybody go out and milk cows, but one person would stay in and fix breakfast.
And your mom was one of these girls.
She was the baby
of the Foster. So it's Hazel Foster.
Yeah, and they all went down and milked their share of cows. They had a lot of cows, and they, of course, they had a milk house, and somebody picked it up once a week or twice a week and take off the milk. They had a strainer, and it separated the cream from the milk. And anyway, they operated. It was a prosperous farm.
And this was near Jasper.
Yeah, 6 miles and a half out of Jasper.
Do you know which direction out of Jasper?
East.
East. 6 miles east of Jasper, Missouri, in Jasper County.
Yeah.
Okay, so Jasper was the county seat then of Jasper County? Or do you know?
No, Carthage was.
Oh, Carthage. So Carthage is in Jasper County. Okay.
It still is.
Okay, now this is 10 minutes, so this will be enough of the beginning video. This will be part 1 of Hazel Foster. We're going to talk about gardening here in a second. Okay, so I'm going to stop this and then start it again because I want the video to be short. Okay, ready? Oh, you want a blessing at the end of this video?
No, well, what I'm saying is, I had a lot more to tell.
Okay, this is part 1. This is the end of part 1, and we've been talking about Hazel Foster. Okay, bye-bye. Love you guys. And part 2 will be in a second.